The complicated parts of this chapter on languages has been covered. Now it's downhill. Many of the things that I'm going to say or write here, I have brushed to some extent in the earlier sections. Mainly now that we are convinced that language is the first and the foremost subject that needs to be mastered to master any other subject, we can delve into the techniques. This is what this particular section is about. Earlier, I mentioned that there are so many impostures, both normal and real, in terms of language. They become obvious when they reach class 11 and 12. At this point, the subjects other than languages become more detailed and complex. Then the students begins to fail miserably. The blame is put on their lack of hard work, but the reality by now we know is that they cannot understand what the lecturer is speaking in class. They cannot understand what they are reading. They cannot converse using the terminologies and frameworks of their subjects so as to be understood. They write gibberish and thus fail to make themselves understood even when they are writing. It is at this level that I have found that it is still possible to help the impostures. Earlier, I also said that the teachers are scared to identify them because they do not know where to start in order to help them. This section is meant for those teachers who are faced with real impostures. Don't panic. You can use the techniques that are outlined below in order to help your students, even though they might be 6 grades lower than their current expected language level. So let us begin. The first thing you should do to help such impostures is to build confidence in them with regards to reading books. If they can believe that they don't need to be threatened by books or their sizes, then their own journey of redemption can begin. Our current education system up till grade 10 has adapted many bad practices. Among them is to spoon feed the students by providing them notes that do not require them to go through the books. In this way, they can just read the notes and memorize them in order to pass their exams. This practice served the teachers and the students and the education institution very well because the students would pass and some even with flying colors. However, reliance on notes is a handicap that can last for all the adult lives. As a teacher, you must remove this walking aid that the notes are. You must inspire the students to read books directly and make their own notes. Most of the students, even when they reach grade 11 and 12, as well as bachelor's degree, do not know how to handle a book. I was taught the following ritual when I was in class 3, but the hundreds of students I have encountered with language related problems showed no recollection of being taught how to approach a book. First, hold the book, tell them, smell it. Many people, including me, love the smell of books. I guess it's the chemical reaction between the ink and the paper. Then look at the cover page, read the title, and try to understand or make out what the drawing on the cover page is about. Look at the writer's name, then turn the book to the back cover. Read the summary that would be written there in most books. In some other books, this same summary would be on the sleeve page of the cover. At the beginning, do not think anything else, but try to understand perfectly the title of the book. Be inspired by the choice of colors on both the front cover and the last cover. Next, just flip through the pages randomly to get a feel of it. Do not read any chapter right away. Instead, go to the table of contents. Do not read that table casually. Instead, make sure that you identify the heading 1 or the chapter titles. The first thing you then do is go through each of the first headings or chapter titles. You have to understand the words in those heading titles. Try to find a connection between the heading 1 or chapter 1 and the second, third, fourth chapters, and so on. Just based on the headings, try to make a story of what that book is about. It could be a textbook. Most likely, it talks about an introduction to the title of the book. Then there must be some kind of history. Then there might be sub concepts. Each of them would again have its own terminologies, theories, applications. So now just sit over it and think about all the chapter titles in one single thought. After some time, go to the heading 2 or sections within each chapter. You will notice that they usually start with the jargons and the definitions, and then it becomes a bit more complicated further down the chapter. Repeat this process for all the chapters. I want to remind you that when you are at the table of contents, you must understand the meaning of every word that you are reading. Look at the dictionary or use ChatGPT. Whatever you do, just make sure that you understand the table of contents thoroughly. Again, pause for some time and visualize the book as if you had understood from the beginning till the end based on the table of contents that you have just investigated thoroughly. Finally, now you are ready to start reading the actual content. So tell the student not to be anxious by the length of the chapter. Remind them that they already know the major milestone of each chapter and that the overall structure is the same for all chapters. Every writer will not invent new structures for each chapter. They usually copy paste the overall structure in each chapter. Then any student who has understood the structure of a book would easily understand another book and most other books. Now, upon opening the first page, disarm the student by showing him that this collection of lines, circles on a piece of paper also have a pattern. It's like looking at a face which has a nose, eyes, mouth, ears. Some people are so good that they can notice the shape of the face, size of the eyebrows. Others are so expert that they can count the number of wrinkles and any other dots on the face. So reading a page is quite similar to looking at the face. Teach your students that every letter joins to form a word. Now they should look for where is the full stop that would constitute one sentence. If they are still confused, look for the capital letter. Tell them. Inform them that there are basically two types of sentences. One is a simple sentence and the other is a complex sentence. Most students are alarmed at complex sentences. However, you can just simply tell them that a complex sentence simply has got two or more verbs, and they just need to identify which is the main verb. Like when looking at a face, when the student looks at a sentence, he should look for where the verb is, what the subject is, and what the object is. I touched upon that earlier on, so I'm just mentioning it here. This single pattern recognition technique can help your students tremendously. Now they don't see something that is intimidating on black and white. Instead, they see sets of subject, verb, objects. Something is being done, someone or something is doing it, and it is being done on something or someone. We are, of course, talking about the verb, subject, and object, respectively. Then teach the student what is a paragraph. Most writers use paragraphs to cluster sentences that are related to one another. Usually, the first sentence will highlight the main idea of that particular paragraph. So, teach the student that he has to understand at least the first sentence of each paragraph in order to move on downward. If there are many paragraphs, the first one would be the most important, then the last one would be the conclusion, and the paragraphs in between would be arguments that relate to the initial paragraph. So the student should try to understand the first paragraph thoroughly, and he can skim over the remaining paragraphs. Teach the student about the role of sections within a chapter. They just mean that it's a bigger paragraph break. It's a shift in the flow of ideas, but it is still related to the current chapter. Most books, especially textbooks, are built in such a way that the understanding of an earlier chapter is required to understand the later chapter. However, this is not always true. Again, inform your students accordingly. In this way, the student now is able to hold the book with confidence. He now knows how to attract the girl. Yes, I'm adding an analogy here. Reading books for many, it's as mysterious as wooing a girl. But once you get to know girls, it's not that difficult. The same applies for boys. If you are a girl, then like they are voracious readers, we can say that they are playboys or Casanovas. So, dear teachers, do not be scared about impostures. You can still help them. Of course, all you can do at the later stages of your students' academic life is to plant the seeds that I have given you in their neural garden. They will have to do the nurturing by themselves. Some will and some won't, but you would have done your part.